How can you turn your trading into something that you consistently rely upon month after month after month instead of it feeling like you're gambling, or if you have a profitable month, you were lucky that month? But how can we get that consistency in trading? Look, this was me. Obviously, I'm not green, but that was me a long time ago. And that was when I was first coming into the market. I tried a bunch of different things, a bunch of things didn't work. And eventually, I stumbled across somebody who was selling a system. And for me, I never heard of a system because I only traded a strategy. Never really heard of a system before, never really heard of creating rules for your trades, never heard of these things before. But I took him up on it. And the price that it cost, not only did I not have the money, but I had to give everything I had to get it and then borrow in order to buy it. So I was in debt to buy this system. And not only did this system not work, but this system burned all the other money I had, which I invested with. But then the thought came to me is that with this system I was able to utilize, that I learned from somebody else, I loved it because it took me out the equation. And though it did lose a lot of money and I was not this happy figure you see here, I also thought, what if I could create a system and instead of losing money, it could actually make money in the market but have the same principles that we're going to get into now. So, look, first, let's understand what a system is. And if you're new to this channel, you don't know. If you're not new, then you know. But a system is literally just taking, oop, there we go, marker's almost dead. It's literally taking your strategy, abbreviated for strat, plus execution, plus, write it down here, emotions. That's all a system is. Now, what is this when we break it down? So, strategy is whatever your strategy is in the market. So, before I stumbled across a system, I was trading everything from break and retest, ICT, COT reports, indicator trading. Like, I've traded everything under the sun. I've had success with a lot of things, aha moments with a lot of things, and then a lot of setbacks and drawdowns, blown accounts. So, I've had experience with a lot of strategies. But whatever that winning strategy is, it doesn't have to be a strategy that you're profitable with. And that's one thing that a lot of traders that I talk to when I'm trying to implement with them a system, that's one thing that they think. They believe it has to be a strategy that they're currently profitable with. And that's not true. It just has to be a strategy that is profitable. Now, what's the difference? So, a strategy that is profitable is going to be a strategy that when you back test it, forward test it, it makes money. A strategy that you are profitable with is a strategy that you are actually live trading in the market and you have consistent returns with it. Those are two different things. Because the first thing, which is just having a profitable strategy, that's just taking the strategy into account, nothing else. It's saying if I just trade this strategy exactly how it's supposed to be traded, will I make or lose money? When you're talking about a strategy that you're profitable with, not only are you taking the factor of is the strategy profitable, but you're also taking into account the emotional side of trading as well. Which, if you know this channel, this whole channel is built upon the idea of getting as much emotion out of your trading as you can so you can make as much money as you can consistently. So take a strategy that's profitable and get a execution method. Now, what the heck is the execution method? So I've been with traders, worked with traders who have had execution methods where, you know, whenever they see the trade going, they start to get emotional. Whenever they see the profit and loss going up and down, they continue to get emotional. So they may just set things like a limit. Or instead of limits, they may set stop orders. Or they may just set alerts once price gets to certain levels. So that way they're not in front of the chart all the time. And one thing that I love to tell the traders that I work with is that the more time you spend in front of the chart, the more emotional you become. So when I'm teaching traders, okay, not just how to become profitable, but how you can build a system to be profitable, I tell them the system has to include you being able to spend as least amount of time as you possibly can in front of the chart. Because the more, if we can write this here, the more your emotions go up, the less your profit increases in the market. And the more that this goes up, eventually this stops increasing and starts decreasing. You start losing money in the market. So that's why we want to spend as little time as possible actually in front of the charts. So that's why we need our execution method, which is going to limit that time needed. And then from there, obviously cancel out our emotions. Now, the thing that I love is that if you set up your system the right way, emotions are automatically going to be canceled from your system. But there's different levels. There's different levels of emotional control when it comes to systems. Some traders build their system so 100% of emotions are taken out. Other traders may do something where, maybe half the emotions that they would typically have are still there. Other traders build a system where they're still fully reliant upon themselves to trade, but they've learned to be able to decrease their emotions in the market. But as a long run, right, this is essentially what a system is. This right here. And it's not harder and it's not more complicated than this. The place where I see people mess up so often is that they think that for some reason, their system that they create in the market, a lot of traders think that their system has to be on paper just as good, if not better, than their strategy when they start. And that's not particularly true because with a system gets incredible once you're able to implement these 3 steps. And now that I look at it, this should actually not be the 3 tiers trading. Let's make this a little bit different, a little bit more accurate. That's a terrible 3, but it'll work. The 3-tier trading system, right? And this is a trading system that I've been able to come up with over a decade day trading in the market. 3 tiers, not 4 tiers. And the tiers are strategy, execution, emotions. So you're probably saying to yourself, okay, well, Artie, this is amazing. This is great. This is perfect. I understand what a system now is perfect, but why can't I just trade my strategy instead of a system? And this is one of the realizations that I really try to help traders come across is that a strategy, like we talked about, takes 2 things into account. Thing number one, it takes into account is the actual, I'm going to write this here, is the actual strategy itself. I'm going to say strategy alone. There's an O, not an A. So strategy alone. And the other part that it takes into account is emotions. Right? And if you want to get technical, you can also place things like time in there as well. Because I know most people that's watching this video that may come to me, you all have full-time jobs. You may have to watch your kids. You may have to do 1,000 different things, right? So the time factor may not necessarily be readily available to you. But when we're talking about trading a strategy, we have to first make sure the strategy alone is profitable. Because if we're trading a strategy that has a 10% win rate and only a 1 to 2 risk to reward, it doesn't matter how great your emotions are. It doesn't matter how great time management is or how great your system is. You will never make money because the strategy alone is not profitable, right? So we want to make sure when we back test, doesn't make money. After that, the strategy also takes in emotions. And this is the sole reason why your back test results never look like your actual results in the market. And so many traders come and they're like, RD, I don't understand. I back tested this thing for 6 months, getting great results, live tested it even on a demo account. But right when I put money into it, this whole thing blew up and my profitability in the market went further and further down. I don't understand what happened. RD explain, right? And it's simply because the emotions you downplayed. You didn't take into account that a strategy is not just the strategy alone, but is also emotions. How great are you at managing your emotions while you're trading? Are you able to trade the strategy perfectly and flawlessly? And just a hint, after over a decade in trading and coaching other traders, I've never seen that in my life. But is that you? Right? So emotions are huge, and it's one of the things that makes strategies unprofitable for most traders. And on top of that, a lot of people don't have time. So you're working your job, you're taking care of your kids, you're babysitting kids, whatever it may be. A lot of people don't have time to consistently trade whatever strategy that they have that they back tested over and over and over again. And as a result, it doesn't matter how great you are with your emotions or how great your strategy is if you never have the time to trade it consistently. That's where a system comes in it. Because a system is able to eliminate this, make this obsolete, not even important, so that this is the only thing that we focus on. And because emotions are out of the picture, which is one tier, and we have our execution method that reduces time on the chart, right? Now we're able to take that strategy that we have and make the absolute most amount of money we possibly can on it. In the last video I made, just go back and watch it. I'm not saying that to get more views. I really don't care about the views. I'm saying that to say we introduced a topic that I give to people that I personally kind of coach and walk through with trading, building a system. And it's the idea, well, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's called the roller coaster. And if you understand that, then you can understand how we're able to truly make the most amount of money that we possibly can. And that leads me to our first point, which is going to be consistent utilization. Now we have no space on this board. Let's clear some of this stuff up. But consistent utilization is essentially going to mean that whatever amount that you can make, that's what you're making, right? So when you're thinking about utilization, this is erasing terribly. All right, that's perfect. So when we think about utilization, the main thing that I want to think about is how much are we utilizing? So with utilization, we have a strategy, but how much money are we making from that strategy? So let's say that our strategy for any given week, let's say we place 10 trades. Out of those 10 trades, maybe 5 win. And because of our risk to reward and everything that we have set up, let's say for that week, we could have made 10,000. And this 10,000 represents if we took every single trade right when we're supposed to take it, no hesitation, no getting out too early, no holding losses. No, this is if we perfectly traded our strategy, the most money we could have possibly made last month or last week, I like week better, was $10,000. But in reality, because of things like emotions, because you don't have an execution method, because you don't have time, whatever that X factor may be that makes strategies unprofitable for most traders, that 10,000 turns into, in actuality, say 3,500. So you should have made this much, but you really only made this much. Okay, perfect. That's a $6,500 gap. So most of the money you should have made, you didn't make it. The incredible thing with the system, the reason why once I figured out the system framework, why I got so excited is because system is able to utilize your strategy. What does that mean? That means if the most that I could possibly make for my strategy was 10,000 for that week, then the most that I'm making in that week is 10,000. Not only is that the most that I'm making, but that's exactly what I am making in the market. Because a system allows you to utilize your strategy 100%. And when I say this to traders, it always blows their mind. They're like, well, RD, how is that possible? That's not possible at all. How can you utilize your strategy 100%? And the reason why is so simple is because you're taking all the variables out of the equation. A lot of traders think, I included, that you're not a good trader. That's what I thought when I was going through trading. Because until I found that system, I was losing account after account, blowing things, trying every single strategy out there. I tried a system for the first time, lost all my money in it, but I saw that this thing can work so well because it cancels out all the other variables. Now I just have to base this upon an actual profitable strategy. And once I did that, I finally had my aha moment when I looked at the results that my system got over the span of like a year's worth of data, I believe. And every single day, I remember every single day, I was hoping and wishing for this thing to fail so that I could reaffirm my belief that trading just doesn't work, that trading is only for a select few, that nobody's actually doing well in trading, whatever the case may be. And I wanted to prove myself right, but this system proved me wrong. And I think that first year, like the results that I got doubled, which was just mind blowing to me. And now when I tell and show traders this, it blows their mind as well because it literally takes 100% of the variables out of the equation. So the only thing that you need to focus on is, does this strategy make money when I back test it? If the answer is yes, great. Let's build a system around it because it 100% utilizes whatever that strategy is. No emotions, the execution method, time is no longer a factor. And that's the realization I get traders to. And when they have that realization and that aha moment that it was never 100% me that caused unprofitability, but it's the strategy and just inherent human nature caused me to be unprofitable with the strategy. But the system takes me out the equation, which is what we're getting to. That's when I became this guy. And once other traders get that and see what I'm talking about, they transfer that this guy to, transform to that guy. And that's exactly what I want to have happen here. So we know, okay, consistent utilization. If we are able to make $10,000 that week, we're making 10 grand that week. Great. Now what? Now what is longevity? Everybody knows that the secret to actually becoming rich in trading is not having a good week or a good month. It's having multiple and multiple and multiple back to back to back. Longevity, in other words, we can even name this as consistency. Because if we're able to be consistent in the market over and over, if we're able to hit this 10,000 or 7,000 or 15,000 over and over and over and over and over again, of course, you're going to have a losing day. You're going to have a losing week, sure. But if we're able to hit consistent gains and be able to compound those gains over time, which is a video that I made previously, that's when you'll quickly start to see how doable it is to not just make money in trading, but to truly transform your life in trading and quit your, like, do whatever you want to do. It is limitless once you understand this principle of longevity. And that's one reason why I absolutely hate prop firms. I hate the whole industry because it's pushing onto people that 10% a month should be a normal thing for you. And when you push for an amount like 10% a month and you have in your mind that that's supposed to just be a normal amount for a successful trader, then you start getting in the mindset that, okay, if I make anything less than 10% a month, I'm just not a good trader. You know, I'm not doing it like the big boys are doing it. Something is wrong. So you chase those fast profits, those big profits. In other words, your longevity goes down. I don't doubt that you will pass a funded account. I've passed a funded. It's not a hard thing to do. But the goal is doing it every single month, and you will quickly realize that's not a repeatable party trick if you want to have longevity. Not just months and months and months. I'm talking years, decades, just compounding. That's why I tell people not to stay away from prop firm, but just to understand what it is. And that 10% is not an amount you should strive for. Instead, you should strive for consistency. Whether that consistency is going to look like 2% a month, or whether that consistency is going to look like 5% a month, or whether that consistency is going to look like 1% a month. Do you realize with 1% a month, you are beating the average return of the US stock market? You're beating out a lot of hedge funds just by doing 1% a year, which is 12% on an annual basis. Like, that is a good return. Now, obviously, when we set these systems up, well, not set them up, but when I help teach traders how to implement and create their own system, eh, doing more than 1% a month, right? Of course. But I just use 1% just as an example of what wealth creation can look like through trading with just as small of a number as 1% a month, and how you're beating out most investors. So Perfect. So we know that it's consistent utilization, 100% utilization of your strategy, which is incredible. We know that longevity is the key to actually wealth, which is, in other words, consistency. Now, what about no more you? And this no more you was truly my aha moment. Because I'll never forget, right when I blew my first funded account years and years and years ago, I was so distraught because I thought I came upon a incredible strategy. I was having success with the strategy. I was seeing great gains with the strategy, and I was like, "Yo, this is it." And I'm sure you, as a trader, have had times where you discovered that strategy, and it's like every single trade that you do, you can't lose. You're excited. You're drafting up the email to send to the boss to put in your early notice. But right when I bought that funded account, I blew it, and I just didn't blow it. I blew it bad, and my emotions were shot for the rest of the month. And if you've been at that level of despair that I encountered there, then you know the feeling. You thought you discovered the thing that's going to print unlimited money, and you were so excited, you were so hopeful, but yet it failed terribly. And it's not bad because you lost your money, it's bad because you lost your hope. And that's where I was. Until again, I discovered the system where I lost all my money, but I saw that a system can work if it's done the right way. And that aha moment that I discovered when I traded that very first system I've ever gotten, the one I lost all my money, but I loved the opportunity and really changed my life, was that it is no more you. Not to say that you're not a good person. You're an incredible person. I don't know you, but understand RD Trades loves you. I don't know who you are, but I love you. But the reason why No More You is so incredible is because it's the you part in this equation that equals unprofitability or loss profit. Because if you remember what we said like towards the beginning of the video, there's a difference between a profitable strategy and a strategy you make money with. Those two things are not the same. When I talk to traders, that's one thing I always like to ask. I love to pose that question. What's the difference between a profitable strategy and a strategy you make money with? Because a strategy you make money with is always the you part that messes up this part. Always, 100% of the time. And that is the prime reason why so many traders backtest and they get great results backtesting, but yet they lose money live trading. It's only the U effect because it's a simple equation. And the simple equation would be something like trading the strategy, and somebody has to trade the strategy, so it's going to be you. So it's going to be you plus strategy equals profit. But the you is always messing up the profit part because you always have the bad emotions that come up, which is going to be over trading, which is going to be hesitating, which is going to be holding losers, cutting winners short. All of these things destroy your profitability over time. My aha moment was when I was trading that system. Yes, I was losing money with it. Absolutely losing money. That's why I created my own 3-tier trading system that I teach to traders. But when I was trading that system, I realized it wasn't me trading. Or in other words, the you, the me, was taken out of the whole trading system. So it wasn't me making the decisions, it's my system making the decisions. It wasn't me figuring out when to get out, when to get in, it was my system. And I realized the better and better the rules that I was able to structure, the better and better the aids I was able to create to go with the trading to actually make this system. Or in other words, the better the execution method was, which is one of the most important parts that I developed, the greater and greater, or in other words, the less the me was in the market trading and the more profitability I actually was able to start seeing in the market. I loved it because I was no longer trading. My emotions were no longer involved, and I was able to make the most money I possibly could from my strategy because I had 100% utilization with the way I created my system. Not all systems are created equally. I can promise you that after losing all the money I had and all the money I borrowed to buy a system, not all systems are created equally. Not all systems are the same level of taking the you out of the equation. That's why you need to make sure that you set your system up the right way. And this is primarily 100% what I teach traders to do. Strategy doesn't matter. You can get any strategy out there as long as it's a proven strategy. What's a proven strategy? A proven strategy is a strategy that has a winning risk to reward and a winning win rate, quite naturally, so that you know that there's an edge in the market, and that edge is going to be seen over the span of multiple, maybe hundreds of trades, at least 6 months worth of data. You know you have a profitable strategy. Great. Plug that into a system, and now you truly have something because you're out of the equation. And I hate to say that it's like an ATM machine for the market, but from my personal experience with my personal system and the results that I've seen with my system, it's not because my system is just crazy great. It's only because I know how to create a great system from failing at it for so long and for so many years and for so much money that for me, those results truly feel like it's an ATM machine almost for the market. And I know that sounds crazy and I know that sounds nuts, but once you utilize this and master this, you will see just how far your trading changes. And if you want any help with creating a system, if you want to figure out what a system is, how to create a system, I'm creating something. I have no idea what it is yet, but I'm trying to figure out how I can not stop, but how I can transition from just teaching what I know to people one on one that can kind of afford it, whatever, to how I can make it more accessible to people. I don't know what that's looking like yet, but just stay tuned. But once you master this, you will realize that the market truly can be your ATM machine. This is Already Trades, and I'm out.